Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are digging into a 1400-year-old cold case perched high above the Baltic Sea. I'm talking about the colossal, completely mysterious stone monument known as Ales Stenar. It is easily one of Northern Europe's absolute greatest archaeological mysteries, and you and I are going to break down all the evidence together right now. But before we jump to any wild conclusions about this striking megalith, we really need to set the scene. For centuries, people have stared at the structure and wondered, is this a Viking monument? Is it an ancient tomb? Or is it something way more extraordinary, like an ancient astronomical observatory perfectly aligned with the cosmos? Just picture the sheer drama of this environment in southern Sweden's Scandinavia region. The ancient builders intentionally hauled these stones up to elevated cliffs nearly 40 meters high, looking straight out over the endless Baltic Sea. Standing up there, you can see for miles and miles across the water. This placement was absolutely on purpose, guaranteeing the monument would be impossible to miss from huge distances, whether you were approaching by land or sailing in from the sea. Okay, let's kick off this investigation by looking right at the physical evidence left at the scene, the giant stone ship. The sheer scale of this thing is honestly staggering. When you look at the layout from above, you'll see the structure consists of exactly 59 massive sandstone boulders, and they're all strategically and purposefully planted deep down into the earth. Now, to really put this into perspective, the exact precision of these measurements is just mind-blowing. We're talking about a length of 67 meters, that's 220 feet long, and 19 meters across. And the weight? Up to 2 tons per stone. To put that in everyday terms, that is basically the weight of a mid-sized car per boulder. Together, these massive stones create the unmistakable outline of a ship, with the absolute largest stones deliberately marking the bow and the stern. It literally looks like a giant vessel carved straight into the earth. So, with that breathtaking scene set, our investigation has to ask the most obvious question: who actually built it? Because of that iconic ship shape, it's incredibly easy to just assume, oh, it's a Viking monument. But modern archaeology has handed us a massive plot twist. Radiocarbon dating of charcoal found right beneath the stones reveals the reality. It was constructed around 600 AD, during the Nordic Iron Age, meaning it actually predates the famous Viking expeditions by nearly 200 years. So while the builders were certainly ancestors of the Vikings, they belonged to an entirely earlier Scandinavian culture. Well, if it wasn't the Vikings, what do the locals say? The monument's name itself, Ales Stenar, comes straight from local medieval folklore. The traditions claim that a legendary giant, or this mighty warrior named King Ale, ruled the region long before written history and is buried right there beneath the stones. But unfortunately, as we peel back the layers of tradition, we find absolutely zero archaeological evidence tying him to the site. The legends are super captivating, for sure, but the scientific evidence just isn't there to back up the story. Which brings us to a really fascinating problem: a ship with no captain. Let's look at the missing evidence. This is the most glaring gap in our whole detective case. All across Scandinavia, there are over 300 similar stone ships, and a lot of them actually served as grand burial monuments for important people. So naturally, we have to ask the obvious. Since it looks exactly like those graves, where on earth is the body? And for that matter, where is the royal treasure? Going in, archaeologists fully expected a grand tomb. But the excavations told a completely different story. It was a classic case of expectations versus reality. They expected to find large human remains, heaps of royal treasure, and an elaborate grave chamber. But what did they actually find? Nothing of the sort. No large remains. Zero treasure. Just some really tiny traces of cremated material nearby. Researchers were completely baffled by this empty vessel. So, rather than a physical grave, researchers started to think maybe the monument is purely symbolic. In ancient Nordic belief, ships were deeply spiritual, basically symbolizing the journey to the afterlife. This could actually be a stone ship meant to carry souls into the eternity of that endless horizon overlooking the sea. Imagine standing up on that cliff 1400 years ago, staring at the water. Its dramatic position right on the edge makes total sense if it represents the unknown world beyond life. But the distinct lack of a physical body leads us right to our second major suspect theory, one that forces us to look up from the dirt and directly into the heavens: an ancient solar calendar. See, researchers noticed this incredible celestial connection with Ales Stenar, known as solstice alignment.
Basically, this is the careful positioning of a structure to perfectly match up with the sun's rising or setting points on the longest and shortest days of the entire year. It heavily suggests the builders possessed highly sophisticated, genius-level astronomical knowledge about the changing seasons, way before modern instruments ever existed.
And the evidence for this solar calendar theory is seriously striking. Check this out. During the summer solstice, the sun rises right over one end of the stone ship and sets almost perfectly over the exact opposite end. Then, during the winter solstice, you get these similar hyper-precise alignments happening from different viewing angles. It's like the stones acted as a giant, incredibly precise clock to help ancient people track planting times, plan harvests, or time their religious festivals. Now, we absolutely have to look at the facts neutrally here. Modern archaeology is actually split right down the middle between these two interpretations. On one side, you've got the solar calendar theory, arguing the site was definitely an intentional astronomical observatory. But on the flip side, the ceremonial monument theory suggests, hey, these alignments might just be totally coincidental, or maybe just a secondary feature for a political or sacred gathering place. And honestly, the scientific debate over its true primary function is still raging on today. But regardless of its intended purpose, whether it was built for the stars, for the dead, or for the living, the physical construction of Ales Stenar is an undeniable engineering marvel. Just think about this for a second. They did all of this completely without modern machinery. Step 1, they had to extract these impossibly heavy stones from nearby glacial deposits. Step 2, they transported the boulders using nothing but wooden sledges and log rollers. Step 3, they physically hauled that massive 2-ton weight with just ropes and hundreds of exhausted workers. And finally, step 4, they somehow positioned each stone with this mind-bending precise symmetry to maintain the shape of the ship. Even the slightest error would have completely ruined the elegant design, proving they must have been working from incredibly detailed plans. And the investigation is far from over. As we bring this cold case into the modern era, investigators are not giving up. They are actively using cutting-edge tech to hunt for hidden clues. We're talking laser scanning, drone mapping, and constantly improving dating methods to peel back the Earth layer by layer. Ales Stenar remains a site of intense, ongoing active research, which means our whole understanding of it could literally change tomorrow. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that this giant stone ship stands as a testament to the awe-inspiring engineering skills, the deep spiritual traditions, and the sophisticated knowledge of ancient societies whose true identities are just lost to time. We are ultimately left with one simple truth. Its stones remain silent. Its builders left no written records. As we wrap up this explainer, the enduring silence of Ales Stenar really leaves us with one final, haunting question to chew on. If a monumental, 67-meter stone ship could be hiding in plain sight, misidentified for centuries, what other massive ancient secrets still lie hidden beneath the earth, just waiting to be unearthed?